and welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I am your host, Mike B, and this is the first Mumbo Jumbo for 2023. Happy New Year. Happy New... Poof, things explode, excitement. If we had the graphics and the budget, we could probably do something. I haven't even got a party popper. But it's the new year. 2023 beckons. It's opens in front of us, blossoms, as it were, with untold possibilities and still possibly the threat of thermonuclear annihilation. But, you know, let's look at the bright side. We've made it through the last couple of years, and we made it through 2022, mostly intact. So, you know, we're still going. We started the year with the threat of thermonuclear annihilation, and we made it to the end, and, you know, that's something, isn't it? Jolly good. Anyway, I digress. The festive season has passed us by. I thought it was a good opportunity to pause. Actually, I'm just going to go through some bits I got for Christmas, because they've got some quite nice stuff. Got a couple of movies. So I've got A Boy and His Dog, who she'd never seen, is a post-apocalyptic movie. Got Don Johnson in it. Very early role for him, actually. Directed by L.Q. Jones, who was a character actor in a lot of Sam Peckinpah movies and stuff. You saw him, you know who he was. But anyway, post-apocalyptic movie. I think it was based on a book by a short story by Harlan Ellison. Essentially, this guy going around for talking Don Johnson and his dog Blood that talks to him. And stuff. It's probably got some highly dubious stuff in there, because he's basically going around to get laid in the apocalypse, and the dog's helping him. And a lot of shit happens. It's very 70s. Probably a lot of it now is probably not PC, but it has soft place in my heart, and I know that appeared in one of my Secret Santa things, along with Silent Running, which I haven't got the box here because I took it inside. I was watching it with Isaac, which is Doug Trumbull's 1970s set sci-fi eco-warrior tree hugger sci-fi movie with some really cool robots in it, and I loved as a child and it broke my heart as a child. So, you know, we watched a bit of that anyway. Very cool. Other stuff, mostly other stuff, is books. However, there was one board game of note, or an expansion of, which was the Dune Imperium Immortality expansion, which I'm very actually happy. I didn't think I was going to get this. Son number one actually picked me up this, and God bless him, lovely. I'm wonderful. Not played it yet. Maybe, hopefully, might get a play in soon, because I do like the look of what it does. I could have done a little unboxing thing. Maybe we will. Who knows? Mysteries of editing will fully tell us. I'll talk us through anyway. So inside the box you get a board, which gives you some more actions on there. But you can do it to tie it in with the... I'm not going to say their name, but it's basically the gene splicer dudes from the books that go around and can raise the dead and clone things and all that sort of. So you can get involved in with all of that side of stuff. It does give you... so you get the board, more actions on there, which essentially give you these cards, which have this new commodity of this stuff. You can gene splice them onto other cards, and there's another stuff you can buy from with the commodity, with the currency coming from here. Other than that, you get these tokens. They've tried to fix the whole problem with the draw from the deck, the being kind of stale if the people aren't buying cards. So each person now has a family atomics token, which they can use to clear that run of cards and get a fresh deck out there. So that's kind of something. There's some more intrigue cards gone in, a few more of them to maybe help balance that out a bit more. But most of it is all centered on the action, and some more cards in the main deck, actually, which kind of ties into the expansion. I was concerned early doors on this one that it was going to overcomplicate. I played a few games with the Rays of Ix, and that's fantastic. It works really well. It just kind of feels a bit like one of those expansions like Prelude did with Terraform Mars, that it kind of completes the game. It kind of does it. So if you're a big Dune Imperium fan, which I am, I love a bit of Dune. And Dune Imperium, by far, is one of the superior Dune games. I mean, I love the original Dune, but I'm really enjoying this deck building hybrid thing going on. So yeah, not played it yet, but I have feelings that I think it's going to be nice. It's going to settle in there alongside the other bits, the expansion. Adds a bit more meat to the deck. Adds a few other things. I like all of what I've seen it does. So I will be interested to see how that plays out in some subsequent plays of it. Aside from that, I got cinema speculation, Quentin Tarantino's non-fiction book. I have a thing for Tarantino. I've been listening to he's got a podcast there, actually. So this is a book of his recollections of 1970 cinema. I thought there was going to be more pictures in it, but there's only a couple. His recollections of 1970 cinema from his perspective. And the 70s for me is a wonderful time in cinema, as we've covered already for some of the shit that I watch. But there was a turning point in Hollywood. And I do agree a lot with what he says. It was one of the golden ages of cinema, because it was coming out of the 60s. It was a bit daring, a bit just wild. And the 70s is a sort of nihilistic cinema and just crazy. A lot of good shit came out of the 70s. So yeah, I'd be interested to dig into that and read it, see what the man has to say for himself. I really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in America, the paperback version of that, the book of that he did. It was really cool. If you've not read it, worth a read. And this beauty came as well. I got this, which is Dice Men, which is by Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. It is the history of Games Workshop from its very early inceptions. How Livingstone and Jackson brought it into being, along with the Fighting Fantasy, a bit on the Fighting Fantasy books, and it looks very cool. Lots of really great shots of 1970s, 80s sort of England, and old GW bits. It just kind of looks very cool as a trip down memory lane. I'm kind of liking the look of it. But lots of stuff I was just nostalgia all over the place, digging through it anyway. That's Dice Men by Ian Livingstone Jackson. It looks very cool. I've not really had a chance to dive into it, but I think it's one I'm going to enjoy just for the nostalgias, just for the feels, and alongside companion to that, bless whoever my Secret Santa was for that, is Return to Firetype Mountain by Mr. Livingstone himself. It's the sequel to the original Firetype Mountain book. Good choice, whoever you were, Secret Santa-ing me, because that's lovely as it is, but that on top is a nice touch, and a pencil and some dice I had for that as well. And I do at some point maybe much look forward to returning to Firetype Mountain, because I still have my original copy of Firetype Mountain, played back when I was very, very teeny weeny when it came out, and I kind of look forward to playing that. It looks kind of cool. Anyway, I've meandered. Did you get good stuff? I'm happy with my haul. It's very nice. I'm very content. Did you get anything? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Whatever. Did you get stuff? Are you looking forward to some stuff? It's my birthday coming up soon in January, so I don't know. Well, heat is kind of the thing I quite like. The look of the heat pedal to the metal from Days of Wonder. However, Shut Up and Sit Down gave it a rather rave review. Everyone else has kind of lost the shit over it, and so I don't know when it's next going to be in print, but it seems to now be very hard to get hold of. So maybe I'll look at what else I would like. But that was the only other thing kind of on my... Anyway, fuck all this shit. What have we been playing? Played games. Well, not a lot since last time. However, the other night, sat down and Ben came along to Friday the Games and we played Clank Catacombs, which is the new version of Clank. What it essentially does is take Clank and with a few tweaks to the card decks and stuff. I think they've carried over from the original Clank and some of the expansions. There's a little bit of feel of that. But the big kind of change to it is there isn't a preset board. So during the game, you draw tiles and orientate them on the board where you want them to be from routes as you go off. So you build the labyrinth as you go. And it's got, as I say, it's got a few little tasters and bits and pieces from the expansions. It's also got some cards in the deck that rotate the tiles so they can fuck up the actual layout of the map. Other than that, the basic plays exactly the same. The idea, if you've never played Clank and what Clank was, is it's kind of like almost like an old school arcade style of board game. It's kind of anyway. The idea is you're going in as adventurers into a dungeon. In the original Clank, it was you went down a board and into the depths, and you're essentially trying to find these artifacts which are worth victory points. Whilst you're doing that, it is this kind of hybrid deck builder and stuff going on. You are deck building, a hand of cards which will allow you to move around the dungeon because the different bits on the cards give you abilities to move or stuff to spend on the more cards. And you've got this novelty thing of this increasing attacks from a dragon, your cubes being pulled out. Every time you do play a Clank card or cards that produce Clank, which is noise, that pops your cubes into this bag. which is pulled through from throughout the game when cards coming out of the deck trigger that, and once you get your cubes back out of the bag, they count as wounds. If you die, you die. The idea is you run down, grab an artifact, and try and make it back up to the surface. And that's the only time you actually score, by getting back out with your stuff. And that's it. And it's tweaked some stuff from that. I liked the concept of this when I first heard about it because it feels almost like Clank 2.0. It almost feels actually like a 3 o'clock in the morning job where they were sat there and they suddenly went, hold on a fucking minute. Because it feels like actually this should have been what they should have done out the gate with Clank. Would have made it perfect. As it stands, I like the original Clank and like the legacy version we played of it. But this is a really cool way of they should do a legacy version of this. I already detoured myself mid-conversation, but yeah, it's a really cool version of Clank. I like it that you've got these variable dungeons every time now. It's never going to be the same, and the cards tweaking stuff. I've only played the once, but I enjoyed what it was doing. I did terribly. I died and didn't even make it out of the dungeon. Nothing, no points to score. But all of that was cool. So really enjoyed that. It's one that I look forward to playing again, I would say. It reinvigorated my Clank thing. I love a bit of that builder and I love a bit of that. So maybe that might go on the list. Maybe go on the birthday list, possibly, because it's pretty cool. But Ben's got it. I don't know, but it's definitely one I think we could play on this for Sunday nights as well. Although we have the imminent arrival of Frosthaven is on the way, which I say already we've discussed a couple of times. It's like shit. That is going to fuck up all the shit. So we'll see. Other than that, we played Barren Park. Which is you building a park for bears. I know Charlie really digged this one. I ain't played it yet. This is the first time I played it. It's really kind of very easy, very simple, but very kind of cool. I like it. Tetrising, basically, is it tessellating? I don't know. You're taking different shapes and you're building them on your park, trying to fill them up. You score points, extra points for filling the entire square. And where you place them and you uncover icons allow you to buy certain or pick up certain shapes from the row in the middle of a finite amount of stuff, and hopefully whoever fills all of their squares up first or gets rid of everything else score points. Blah. So anyway, I made this so much more complex than it is. It's really straightforward, very simple, and really rules light, but actually quite a cool game. I did think about it and look at it and think, actually, this is one I could actually play with her indoors. She who will not play games, because there really is a very low rules overhead and can just get it to table. Because love her dearly, but as soon as you start discussing rules for something, I see her glaze over. She just kind of wanders off to a happy place. And doesn't listen to anything you're saying after a period of time. So the game's got to be kind of short and sharp and snappy and straight to the point. So that might be one of those. I should see what you think about this. But there you go, that's it. Other than that, there is the potential maybe tomorrow, because it's a long weekend, because it's New Year's and all that, is that we might well have a crack at playing TI4. That's the thing that's being kind of ummed and ahed about currently. And I'm cool with that because we don't often play TI4. But opportunity to do it is always nice. And now I thought about it, I have a little bit of excitement just thinking about that, actually. Although I would really like to play Junior Imperium, blah, 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 and all the other stuff. But I don't know, I quite like the idea of TI4. And I've got the new Cares, or whatever it was, the new Civ that came out. They brought out with the latest version of the Codex. So I've also got that in there as well. And I've not played with them yet. So there's also that. Forts. In fact, as I'm having these forts, I'm thinking, I don't think I've actually put all the cards on the ship from that into the main box. So that's a job I'm going to have to do if we are going to play it. Anyway, so there you go. That's what I played and all that. I'm going to move us into some news, but I really don't know if there's any news and I haven't done any research yet. So I'm sat here going, we're going to the news, but I haven't as yet a fucking clue what I'm going to talk about. So that would be quite the journey for both of us, won't it? News, no news to speak of. Actually, there was no news to speak of because I looked and it's the new year. It's nothing happens. All industries have shut down. Nothing is going on. Ball games are having a sleep. So going back to played stuff, New Year's Day, I think it was New Year's Day, New Year's Day, I think. We got in a game of TI4. which is always nice. I did think in the start of this video, I went, oh, I might get a game in. Got excited. I got a game in. I did a prefabricated map, a published map. I took that. I thought, well, I'll set it up beforehand because that takes a long time, and so I thought I'd do it and find them with just draft characters. So I took the map out of Codex 4. I think there was a 4-player map which involved hyperlanes and a choke point to get to Metacol Rex, and much more resource-less zones. There's not a lot of planets on there, a lot of empty space, and these hyperlanes, meaning that everyone can kind of get to everyone. But Metacol has got a nebula, is the only access point to it, and that if you hit a nebula, you have to stop. So this whole sort of almost a Cold Warian type situation set up. We played that. We were going to play the 14 points, but it got to like midnight and we were way off that. At the end, Tony and Jamie both hit 10 points. We said we'd go right play to 10, and actually at the end of by that round they played out, both of those two guys hit 10. Tony won because he was first in turn order basically for the tiebreak situation. But yeah, I played the map a lot, but it was enjoyable. It was different. It did do what I thought it was. It caused everyone to have to think more about their economy and what they could do. And I really struggled to get my engine going. I missed some silly tricks myself that I could have done. I could have done stuff better. I did play with the Council of Solarians, the new faction, which their big buff is actually if they can take Metacol, they can actually get a big buff to get extra attachments to that planet and real big defense on it. And I got there early game for that exact point. And then fucked up. Fucked up because I didn't have the influence to actually trigger it. Then got the influence, but then I couldn't do anything about it because I'd already... So then I got kicked out before I could never get back in. War Suns were everywhere. It's fun. Anyway, so any of you who don't like TI4, have never played it, you're sat there going, fuck me, what's he whibbling on about? But yeah, if you played it, it is a great big space epic game. It did what I wanted to do, told that story of that epic war thing going on. And the map, it was interesting to play that type of map. I'd still like a nice big resource-rich map, and when you draft your own version, it's always kind of cool. But yeah, there we go. That was TI4. So I gave that a blast. That was lovely, very much. That's a good way of welcoming in 2023. Obviously, a lot of people have done lots of best of videos and all that. Well, I kind of covered some of the 2023 stuff in the last video, so I don't feel the point of over exhausting that. I think of that, My Father's Work is one of the things that I take away, which was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed Clank. I played the other day, actually, Ben's Clank. Everdale was fine. And then I start wibbling off of Dune Imperium expansion, Razor Vix. I think it came out at the start of the year. Again, that was really good. And I haven't yet played Immortality, but I'm looking forward to giving that a blast. So that's kind of things that stand out for me from last year that really did it. I said My Father's Work, didn't I? I know I said other stuff, but My Father's Work is probably one that got a lot of play. And really good. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, boom, that's done. Other than that, what else I've been doing? Well, recently I watched a couple of movies. I watched Barbarian on Disney. It came on Disney the other day, and it's one I was interested in. It's a horror movie. The setup is a woman turns up, or a young lady turns up at Airbnb. She's booked in the bad part of town, somewhere in Detroit, I think it is. Aims to find someone who's already in the property, and it happens to be old Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the It movies. He's there, which you instantly go, and it's like, would you go in? He says he's also rented, they've clashed, and all that's the setup. And you think you know where that's going, but you don't. You don't have the first fucking clue where it's going. And it does go to some crazy places. I'm not going to say any more just because it will spoil it. Knowing any more than that will spoil it. Don't even watch the fucking trailer. If you're a horror fan, like some horror, like some good, decent horror, and a bit mundo, out there horror to a certain degree, I highly recommend it. That's all I'll say on the matter. That's it, because it delivers. I have issues with it. But to go into that would spoil stuff. But yeah, some of it's not as smart as it thinks it is, but it's still wildly entertaining and truly a what the fuck moment or two in there. So yeah, give it a blast, really good. And I actually finally got around to watching Clerks 3. Which I'm a big fucking Kevin Smith fan. I've always been a huge fan since he hit the scene back in the late 90s, mid 90s. I can't remember when Clerks came out now. I remember seeing it in London, in a little cool little Soho cinema, going up there to see it specifically for that, because I followed the trail of Clerks and I read it in Film Fit magazine. I think was the first article of it. At the time, I was interested in screenplays myself, had proposed a comic bookish equivalent of Clerks before Clerks came out, and I was like, oh, this is what I was interested in. Watched Clerks, absolutely enjoyed what he was doing with that. It was rude, it was dirty, it was filthy. They spoke like us to a certain extent, if that makes me think. He was one of us, he was a nerd. He had all the references there. Brilliant, stunning, entertaining, joyful, ropey little cheap movie. It's great. And so I followed Kev's output of films, and on the whole, I found them all enjoyable one way or another. I really enjoyed Mormats Chasing Amy. That initial run of Mormats Chasing Amy, Dogma, up to Clerks 2 is really good. But I like Red State he did, that was really good. So he's done other stuff. The Bruce Willis thing, cop out, that's terrible. But then the whole thing what's going on in that is another thing. But yeah, on the whole, I like him. James Silent Bob reboot, you know what, I finally watched it a little while ago. And it's, there's a man who's had a heart attack coming out with a thing. And if you don't know Smith, he had a heart attack a couple of years ago. Nearly died. And Clerks 3... it's dealing with that. Now, Clerks, as I said, really enjoyed Clerks. I actually really hugely enjoyed Clerks too. I thought it was really fun, funny, return to form. Just really enjoyed what Clerks 2 did. I thought it was brilliant. And then we now have Clerks 3 he's brought out. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't want to spoil it again, really, anything go deep, but it obviously follows Smith's heart attack. Randall has the heart attack. And it follows that, but it's a movie that goes to some dark places. It has some of the feels in there, and I got a bit wet-eyed at certain points. I was quite emotionally hit by it. But it's a Clerks movie, and I really come down on the side of like, I don't know. The problem is, I think it's funny, but it's not as funny as the other two. And some of it, there's bits in it where there's a lot of cameos, and some of it you feel like it's a bit over. We don't need that much cameos, but I get it. This is Smith. He's had a heart attack. He's never thought. This is a film he was probably never going to make. He had another version, another script for Clerks, which some of it's covered on the documentary on Clerks 3, and it's quite a dark story he took that in. So clearly, he's just going to those dark places for this. So yeah, I don't know. Can I recommend it? If you love Smith's stuff, then you're going to watch it or watched it already. I hugely do, but I didn't see it coming, and I need to watch it again, knowing what I know now. But it was not what I expected. Yeah, maybe not what I fully enjoyed, but you know what? It was doing what he does, and you can't knock him for doing whatever he wants. He tells it how he wants to tell it, and good on him. We've got all the Clerks. It's something different, and it was entertaining. Had some good gags in there, and it was nice to see the old crowd come back again, at least for one more time. So there we go. What else I've been doing? That's it. It's the predictions. I'm not doing predictions, but what am I looking forward to? 2023. Obviously, Frosthaven is imminent. We're definitely I'm going to see that at some point in the early part of next year. It's very hard to do now. So that's something I'm going, oh yeah, and that's going to absorb a lot of my 23. I have a feeling. A suspicion. What else is on there's not a lot else that's on the horizon, to be honest with you, I can think of. A Kickstarter, as I say, I've kind of cried off on. Frosthaven, other than the Chaos Moss expansion I've got outstanding, is the last of my Kickstarter stuff. I've nothing else personally that I've backed. Ben has Frostpunk that's turned up actually the other day, so we're going to look at that. So that was one that had interested me, so I want to see that. I've played the video game, quite like to see how that plays and what it's like. It does look a little bit extravagant with all the Kickstarter bloat, and whether I feel half of it's going to be completely redundant to what you want to do, but then also it looks kind of cool. I don't know, we'll see. I suspect that's going to be a full evening of play, that one. We have discussed maybe doing a trial run between ourselves just to grok the rules. Tony's got Rallyman Dirt. I quite like that. To look forward to giving that a pop. The stuff like coming, but down the road, I don't know. Really, this year's kind of a blank slate to me. We've got the Expo in the middle of the year. The Expo is always entertaining, and also sometimes surprises could be found there. Tapestry. That'd be the thing. There is another Tapestry expansion coming, which should be with us in the first quarter, I think, is it? And the last one came out Fab time last year, so yeah, there is another extension for that. So yes, that is something I'm like, oh, that's one I'm quite excited for. Quite want to see Heat, Pedal to the Metal, want to get my hands on that. That's now wearing Rock and Roll shit at the moment. Was going to part of my birthday list, but I don't know if that's going to happen if I do. That's it, really. I'm ready for 23 to surprise me. Something. What will be my gem? I know I'm sorted. I've got Frosthaven to play. I've got all of this shit to play. I don't need anything else. And that's probably a thing I think going forward is like finances aren't, they're tight at the moment. I'm not going to be purchasing many board games, and in fact, if I look at 23, what did I purchase in 23? There isn't a lot. Most of the stuff that I had in 23 was Kickstarter stuff. I picked up Eclipse in the middle of the year because I had to pay out from work, some back pay, so that was Eclipse. That was my big board game purchase this year, and I enjoyed it. It was one I'd looked at from afar for a while. It's cool. I like Eclipse. I think I picked up a couple of other bits. I think the Rose of Ix for Dune Imperium I bought. Maybe a couple of other things. I'm struggling. I didn't even buy any games at Expo other than something for Isaac. So yeah, it's been a lean year for me. I fortunately had Portal sent me a couple of things, and Board and Dice, fair dues to them, have sent me some stuff to look at, and so that's kept some Revolver stuff in, and Tony's been picking stuff up, Ben's been buying stuff, so I'm still getting stuff to see, and some that's been quite cool. But personally going forward, if we get said stuff, I'll review it. I say that, but I do a gas bag about it. But I'll be looking at stuff. I may get back to reviewing some actual standalone review videos. It'd be nice to do, time allowing. But yeah. Okay, we'll see what comes up, but I'm not going to be chasing. I felt no less for not chasing the dragon, the board game dragon this year. I'm no lesser for it. I don't think there's anything that I've missed that I'm like, oh shit, I missed that. I mean, a bunch of stuff from Spiel, none of it was that thrilling. And none, again, doesn't get shouted about after a while. We'll shout about it, Gen Con Spiel, and then it goes away. We just shout about it again. So don't panic yourselves. Don't worry about it. We can get through this. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I've rambled. So welcome to 2023. Whatever delights, surprises is on the horizon, we shall see. Look after yourselves. Here we are again. That's crack on, I guess. For the time being, Happy New Year. Have some fun, and I'll catch up with you some soon. Words in order, rearranged, make sense. Goodbye.